Our information in the world of gardening, healthy, clean yards for our pollinators and for us is expanding all the time. I'm here today with Michelle Rogers and homeowner Philip Short. Tell us what is happening for Clarksville and Healthy Yards.
Well, a couple of years ago, the Sustainability Board of Clarksville was looking for a project they could do to make the environment better for people and for nature. And of course, if you make it better for nature, it's better for people.
Right.
So what we started was the program called Healthy Yards. And now it's a collaboration between the city and the county and the Center of Excellence for Field Biology, where I teach at Austin Peay. And we all work together to try to get people to join up to say, I'm gonna plant some native plants. I'm gonna try to avoid pesticides and herbicides that harm our pollinators. I'm gonna make habitat. So if you've got a yard, you've got a space that you can care for, that you're in charge of, and you can make decisions for it. So you can either make it a place that doesn't have ecological value, or you can make it a home for nature.
Exactly.
And that's really important, really beneficial, and it's really fun. And so I wanted you to come today to Phil Short's yard because he's been gardening and not really for so very long, and you won't believe what's already there.
Well, welcome to our home. My wife Donna and I moved here late 2021, September, October of 2021. And when we moved here, there was not a tree, not a shrub, not a flower on the lot. Some nice European grasses cut about 3 inches high across the whole area, so I promptly started getting rid of that and replacing it with native plants.
Wonderful.
And putting some trees in and some shrubs. And Michelle and I have worked together for a while, since about 2016, and she came up with a wonderful idea of Healthy Yards, and it's been growing, I think, pretty rapidly.
We've got about 500 members.
About 500 members already.
That's phenomenal.
And it's interesting when people know what they can do better, they tend to do that. And I love the natives because I'm not really, I don't consider myself a gardener. I consider myself someone who selectively allows native plants to grow. And they end up doing better than the non-natives, and I don't have to do much. I don't have to water, I don't have to fertilize.
Exactly.
I maybe prune here and there, but...
So you're just a little caretaker, aren't you?
I'm a little caretaker, and I always figure nature is very resilient if you only give it half a chance. So Donna and I are trying to give it half a chance. I want to leave you in the trusted hands of Michelle, who knows a lot about plants and native gardening. And I'm going to go do some other tasks, but I hope you enjoy our property here.
Who says you can't have beauty at curbside with the use of natives and pollinators? Introduce us to all of this.
Well, this one's a really interesting one because it has leaves that look a lot like a yucca. So it's actually, its species name is yuccafolium, but it's rattlesnake master. Very interesting flowers that are about to open up here. Pollinators like those a lot.
I see a pollinator right here.
Right now. Multiple insects on there. They love it.
Oh,
and then this, actually very decorative thing, is a native grass of the prairies. And we would have some prairies here, small prairie remnants, but this is little blue stem. So short, very attractive, grows in these compact bunches like this. But instead of having something decorative and non-native, this is an option for anybody.
I love this grass just swaying in the breeze, a breeze we need today. Now, I believe this is switchgrass. Give us what it's beneficial for.
Well, all of the native grasses are part of our natural ecosystems, and there are insects and other animals that need them both for food and habitat, right? They're essential for that. So they're not for pollinators specifically, but they're for insects, and insects are the base of the food chain for most of the animals that live here.
Oh.
So only a few animals eat the plants directly. Mostly it's insects eat the plants, and then other things up the food chain eat them. This is why we have baby birds. This is why we have, there they go right now, the birds, all of the wildlife that we do. But Tennessee is a huge biodiversity hotspot, but without the native plants, you don't have any of that.
Wow, if I were a bee, I know where I would be. No pun on words. Michelle, this is beautifully fabulous, and I can't wait to go into and look at what we're seeing this early morning.
And remember, this is only growing season 3 Year 3 for this opulent garden.
Oh, yeah.
So many species of bees. I mean, we have 350 plus species of native bees in Tennessee.
Really?
No telling what you could find here. And of course, they're on bee balm, for one.
Yes.
We've got bee balm, we've got echinacea, coneflower, we've got black-eyed Susans, and
I love
coreopsis.
the yellow there with the pointed down.
I think that is gray-headed coneflower, which is actually in a totally different genus than the other coneflowers.
Yes.
Here's a lightning bug. Don't forget, all of these plants are not just food, but habitat, safe places to stay. And who doesn't love lightning bugs? This is one of the important lessons too. It's habitat for all the insects, and when people spray pesticides, they spray for all the insects.
Hyssop, one of my favorite feeders of the bees in my yard, and my butterflies. Tell us about this one.
Well, you just said a lot of it, but I mean, what's really important is that we're providing habitat and food for native bees. So honeybees, they usually have plenty of food, and these guys need particular plants. So we got to have lots of diversity, including that anise hyssop.
Yes. Now, in here, there are lots of interesting plants, but I'm going to walk around here. This is fleabane, and most people don't even leave it in their garden. Tell us about its need.
Well, isn't it pretty though? And it's actually a little tiny aster. You get lots of blooms, it fills out the space between the other things, and it does attract and feed lots of very tiny species of pollinators.
This is a local roadside favorite, isn't it?
Ironweed, and it's going to have the most beautiful bright purple blooms soon.
Yes, and you know, I know that I've seen insects enjoying the leaves on this.
Oh, for sure, and that's a thing to remember too. Holes in the leaves, that's not a problem, that's a good thing. That means you have a plant that's part of a living ecosystem.
You also have some goldenrod in here, and that's a good pollinator, isn't it?
Goldenrod is one of the most important plants, and if you want to feed monarchs when they are on their way migrating, they got to get all the way to Mexico in the fall. Goldenrod's one of the best things you can plant.
Yes, there's so much variety in here, and that's what makes everything work.
Well, one of the most important things too is we want plants that are host plants for different butterfly species. In the same way that monarchs have to have milkweed for their caterpillars to grow up on, zebra swallowtails have to have the pawpaw tree.
Exactly.
So there are a bunch of different plants we need if we want to maintain the biodiversity that we have.
This is rather large. What did you say the dimension is?
What they say, 25 yards by 25 yards? Huge.
If I were going to do this, how would I prep?
Oh, that is actually super important, prepping, because the plants, you know this, that all plants will have a hard time if they have to compete with other things.
Exactly.
So what I especially recommend is the method where you lay down layers of cardboard and mulch, and summer is the right time to do this. You use the heat of summer to prep an area that you can plant in October.
Sort of like lasagna gardening.
Yes, and October is the easy time to plant natives. And there are plants that we call keystone plants in ecology that support the most biodiversity. Goldenrod, asters, sunflowers, and oak trees. Oak trees are actually the #1. They support over 100 species of caterpillars.
Just any kind of oak? Or
Yeah, any of the native oaks.
I did not know that. What's not to love about an aster?
Yes, this is native New England aster, native also to Tennessee. Every garden should have asters because they are a keystone species, and they are the host plants for the most caterpillars.
So the milkweed, it has a shiny leaf, doesn't it?
Kind of. This is the one, though, that you would expect to see caterpillars for monarch butterflies and others on, so important for monarchs.
So if they're eating them, they're good?
Yes.
All right.
This is a really pretty, because the foliage is pretty even before the flowering, but this is blazing star, Beatrice.
Yes, it has a long way to go. It starts blooming at the top and it goes down. I definitely see movement right here.
Lots of activity on the native hydrangea. You know what else I like about the native hydrangea? Look, these leaves are not drooping. You have to water the non-native so much, and this thing hasn't been watered. Looking great, even in the heat. And here's a leaf with lots of holes in it. Nothing wrong with that.
We have standing here a
red buckeye. This is going to be an understory tree, so 15, 20 feet tall, beautiful red flowers. A lot of people aren't familiar with it here, and it's a native, great one to go in your yard.
And I see what, you know, I was fortunate enough to get buckeyes on mine. This was the bloom here, and there's a little something right there. And I found them last fall. I didn't know what it was, and I broke it open, and it was a buckeye.
They look like chestnuts.
Yes. From an acorn, a mighty oak will grow. What is the potential for this?
Obviously, it's going to be a huge tree eventually, but Phil Short planted this one direct from an acorn into the ground. Anybody can do it free, right? But this is going to be the #1 keystone species producing the most caterpillars and the most life.
Because we know what keystone is now.
Yes.
Exactly. That is anticipation to what it'll be.
Plus, for all the work that all the flowers are, you can actually make more impact with one oak tree. And you know, once you've gotten started, there's no work to it at all.
Yes. So we don't need a lawn service to get rid of this, do we? And we don't want to mow it too low. That is our...
Those clovers are super beneficial to bees. And the other thing that we have that is underappreciated is wild violets. We're past the bloom season now, but what we have is the common blue violet, whether it's the blue or the white variety or blended. That is our native species.
You know,
and super beneficial. That one is a host species for several caterpillars.
You know what it is? It's once you learn something and understand its purpose, we're not as so selective, are we? It's got a purpose, and leave it there.
Yeah, and you know, you really see the results too. If you leave the clover in your yard, stop using weed and feed sort of products, you'll see the insects that appear and the bees that use it. Yeah,
bunnies.
It's rewarding.
Yes. Standing here in what I consider a very healthy yard for the grower and those things that benefit in here, give us a little wrap up of what you consider. How many natives versus maybe non-native? Can you tell us?
There are studies that show actually if you have 70% natives, that all of your bird species can maintain their populations. That's a lot. But everybody, I think I would like to encourage them to get started somewhere because they're going to see the benefits. And the other thing I'd like to encourage people to do is to find the community of people who are involved with native plants, organizations, local groups, the right nurseries, because it's very localized knowledge, and those people have lots of information to share to help you get started. And the other thing, when you get in the community of native plant people, they give away plants, right?
Absolutely.
It's the place to get your free plants and get started the easy way.
Yes. Well, I think the most amazing thing is that we want a healthy yard first because we do not want to use herbicides and pesticides.
Yes.
And then from that foundation come the results of all of the natives, the bees, the butterflies, and it's all a great ecosystem, isn't it?
I love it. It's so rewarding to see it happen. And I don't think we saw a lot of butterflies today, but they're definitely passing through. You see them and you see the caterpillars, and you know, you're like, there's a butterfly that's in the world because of something that I did.
They may have already collected their pollen this morning or drank. You know, they may have been drinking out of a flower.
And maybe it's too hot a day for the butterflies.
But not us.
No.
Well, I do thank you because it's obvious that you've done the research and you have a wealth of knowledge to share, and we appreciate that you're willing.
I'd be happy to help anybody who's interested, maybe start a native or healthy yards kind of program in their own city.
And thank you to the City of Clarksville. If you like gardening, you'll want to subscribe to this channel. We showcase gardeners, plants, and the joy that growing can bring.